I am happy to be here. And as usual, I would like to start with a giggle, better known as a joke. So there was once a circus performer. And this circus performer made a living by pushing a wheelbarrow across a high wire. And I am, shall we say, of the wisdom that I've been here a few years, and I can remember seeing circus performers that did this. So this is really a joke. However, I do remember this. So this circus performer pushed a wheelbarrow across a high wire. And so people came from far and wide to see this. And so the circus performer, once before he would start, he would yell out, "Do you believe I can do it?" And all the people would say, "Oh, yes, we believe," that sort of thing. And they said it just with great acclamation. So the circus performer then says, "So who's going to get in the wheelbarrow?" That's it. This is about wisdom, listening to the whispers of wisdom. Every single person in that auditorium, that arena, whatever, wherever they used to have circuses, I think in arenas or the Cow Palace here in the Bay Area. That everybody was listening to the whispers of wisdom in their own mind, in their own head, listening to those whispers of wisdom. It sounded like, to me, it probably even sounded like a great idea also. However, I don't know that I would get in the wheelbarrow. So when we're talking today, or when I'm discussing today about the whispers of wisdom, some of the things that some like questions that showed up is, do you feel that the astuteness of your life might be mumbling or muttering or murmuring in any places in your life? Or does wisdom sound faint at times to you? And or the whispers of wisdom, is that something that you're in a place of awareness? Or are you saying to yourself, well, Verona, I don't know if this has to do with me. Well, what it has to do with you, me, all of us, because we all know, there is only one of us here. There is only one of us here. It's all in the oneness of the divine. So we know that any whispers of wisdom that come through me or through David or through BJ or through Janet, that they are the whispers of wisdom that are available to each and every one of us at any time, at all times. And so I thought we might start with some definitions, which makes it so that we are all on the same page. And for me, wisdom has to do with astuteness. That's why you heard me say that about, does the astuteness kind of escape you sometime? Is it murmuring? Is it mumbling? Is it not distinctly speaking up in our way of perceiving it? And so for astuteness, some of the definitions that showed up was sagacious. I love that word sagacious, because also sagacious has to do with the root words of it is sage. So it's being a sage, and being a sage is being a wise one. And also what showed up for me is I sage my house all the time. I sage my car all the time. Not all the time, but I sage a lot. The Native American tradition where we smudge and use the sage, a big thick thing of sage. So it dawned on me, wow, when I'm saging, besides shifting the vibration and the energetics possibly in that space, I am also bringing wisdom into my life, bringing the wisdom of my highest and greatest self into my life, bringing the wisdom of the self with the capital S instead of the little s into my life. So one of the definitions for astuteness or wisdom is sagacious. Another is clever. I love this word clever, because I was speaking to a friend and I said, oh, I really love when someone is clever. And she said, well, that has a negative connotation for me. Clever does not have a negative connotation in my world, because clever to me means that you are in touch with the wisdom, the knowledge of the divine, and you add some silliness into it maybe, or you add some funness into it maybe, or you add some your own quirks into it possibly. So that's another definition for astuteness. Another one is ingenious. And we all know that the ingeniousness of spirit resides within us. I'm not sure about you, but sometimes I come up with some very ingenious solutions to things that I would never have thought of. Never in a million years in my humanness thought of at all, unless I was opening to the divine, opening to the astuteness, the wisdom of the divine within me, because I want to make it clear we have this wellspring within us, a wellspring of wisdom, a wellspring of astuteness, a wellspring of sagaciousness within each one of us. And ours is to what? Tap into it. So if you just allow yourself to be with that for a moment, I have within me a wellspring of wisdom, a wellspring of sagaciousness, a wellspring of astuteness. Just feel it. Yeah, it lights me up. It gives my body temple a chance to feel tingliness and just to know, thank you, David, for that wonderful meditation, to know that all things are working together for my highest good, and that wellspring is limitless. It's ever present. So another definition, back to the definitions, another definition for wisdom itself, for the word wisdom itself, is judicious, prudent, or what showed up when I looked it up was a knowledge of witchcraft. Yeah. Now that tripped me out, I have to say, because I thought, what, wisdom? A knowledge of witchcraft. However, as we all know, as I am saying here today, that witchcraft is gotten a bad rap. Okay, that we don't include witchcraft in particular, and maybe our faith philosophies, but yes, thank you, Wicca, thank you, David, and that it is the divine feminine. So the divine feminine is the divine feminine is limitless wisdom. That is not to say that the divine masculine does not bring something to the table. Also, I don't want to be just because I happen to show up as a woman, I don't want to be prejudicial here. However, wisdom is also part of Wicca. It is, I mean, that wisdom is in it, so it's a part of it. So wisdom can be astuteness, it can be sagaciousness, it can be Wicca, it can be prudence, it can be judiciousness, it can be all of these things that are all the time whispering to you and me. You know, when we speak of the still small voice within, the still small voice within, sometimes for me is not a still small voice. I don't want to say for we, but sometimes the still small voice within for me is a really loud voice. And I like to often say, well, okay, Spirit, that makes sense because I'm really loud. I have a really loud voice and I like being really loud. And I'm from a really, really, really loud family of origin. And then I made some kids and they're loud. So the still small voice can come in any volume, in any form, in any way. However, I'd like to share with you a story about wisdom and about specifically where wisdom might reside within us. So there was a king. And there was once a king, and this king's greatest desire was to gain absolute power over every square inch of his kingdom. Okay, he succeeded in removing every single obstacle to his complete control except one. The people still put their ancient god above the king. So the king amassed all of his advisors and all of his wise people, all of his sagacious people, all of his astute people. He amassed them all. And he said, listen, where might I hide the people's God? And so he can be made to vanish from their lives and cease their challenge on my rule and my power. So his first advisor came to him and said, well, I have it, Your Royal Highness. We can put their God at the top of a mountain, at the summit of a mountain. Okay. And the king said, well, that's not going to work because we know these people, they will abandon their homes, their jobs, their everything, and climb to the highest mountain to search for their God. Okay. So the next advisor says, okay, I have it, Your Royal Highness. We can put their God at the depths of the ocean, the lowest depths of the ocean, at the bottom of the sea. The king thinks, However, king says, no, that's not going to work because these people are diligent and they will probe the ocean's depths to find their God. So finally, the third advisor shows up. The third advisor is slow. This third advisor has not been speaking up. The third advisor has been in a place of being within himself. The third advisor finally says, okay, I have it, Your Royal Highness. I have it, Almighty King. We can hide the people's God somewhere in their everyday lives. They will never find it there. Yeah, because that's what's happening with us. God is hidden, not hidden, but God's presence, Spirit's presence is in our everyday lives. And in that presence, the wisdom of the divine, the limitless wisdom of the divine is in our everyday lives. What a concept. Yeah, I chose this story because it is within us. It is within our every endeavor, our every activity, our breath, as David brought us in our meditation, all the functions of our body, temples, the wisdom of the divine is within our everyday lives. So you may be thinking, okay, all right, Verona, if it's in there, what's up with that? So I was thinking about ways that we do not listen to the presence within in our everyday lives, that we may not listen to the whispers of wisdom within us. So there are several ways. One of the ways we may not listen is our ego, which someone said to me the other day. Oh, my friend Robin Rice Olmsted said, don't forget, that means edging God out. So our ego, our ego is a very important and valuable tool. It does great things for us. However, sometimes our ego wants to lead instead of follow. So that is one of the ways that we may be in a place of non-listening to the presence within our everyday lives, and non-listening to the whispers of wisdom within us, our ego. And I had an instance of this just literally this morning. I was talking with someone and they were listing some accomplishments, and I was part of one of the persons in that list, but they didn't list me when they were talking about some of it was in our board meeting. They didn't list something I did. And my ego, I have to tell you, my ego said, wait a minute. They didn't list you. What about my name? What about V. Garland? And I realized, that was my ego. My ego was in a place of non-listening. My ego put me in a place of non-listening to the wisdom within, which is, it doesn't matter if you're mentioned or not. It doesn't matter. As long as, for me, I'm in a place of service. I'm in a place of being the truth of who and what I am. What's the mentioning got to do with it? However, that was just within the last few hours, example of the way my ego stepped in and took over. Another way of not listening to the inner conversations might be some familial beliefs. We all we all come with some familial beliefs, some family of origin belief systems. And a lot of them are spectacular and wonderful and glorious. And a lot of them may have the feeling tone of not being those words I just said. That is to say, like one of the belief systems that came from my family of origin, because I am African-American, one of the beliefs that my parents had and my grandparents, I didn't get to know my great-grandparents, but I did know those two generations. You must always be the very best at everything you do. You must always be the very best at everything you do. No matter what room you walk into, no matter where you are, you must always be the very best, because otherwise you will not be given a seat at the table, which is a belief system that I was instilled in me, in my family. Now, it did help me to excel. However, the divine within you is going to make me excel anyway. However, this is a belief system where I'm maybe not listening to the wisdom of my own self. Maybe sometimes the whispers of wisdom might be telling me, and it does sometimes, step back, Verona, don't say anything. Don't do anything. Just be. Merely be whose and what you are. So that's just one of my own familial beliefs. Another way that we may be in the non-listening mode is what I now call group consciousness. It used to be called race consciousness, but I don't like that term any longer. Group consciousness. Open up our computer, open up our iPad, go on Google to look something up, and there it is, the group consciousness. There it is, all those things that are told to us that are, quote unquote, the truths of our lives, which may have nothing to do with the truth of our real lives. It's that group consciousness that keeps things going and going and going and going and going, which is a way of non-listening to the wisdom, the whispers of wisdom within. A way of non-listening is that group consciousness that's there all the time. Now, we all know that we need not choose the group consciousness, because we all, Lisa Nichols talks about her picker. And we all know that our picker is divinely held in the consciousness of spirit, so that the group consciousness is not really ours to choose if we would rather not. Well, let's not forget, we're always at any given moment, at any given time, at choice. And the other way we could be in the non-listening is busyness versus stillness. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going to raise my hand. How many of you have been in a place where you're in a place of busyness versus taking the time to be in the stillness? Yeah, thanks, Jesse. Thanks, RC. Yeah, a place of busyness versus being in the stillness. I had an incident yesterday where I was in a situation where it called for ultimate patience on my part. I had to wait and wait on something. And I found myself being in the busyness instead of what I finally was able to do is just be in the stillness. Just be still. Be still and know that in the midst of it all, God is, that I am that spirit is. So those are some of the ways that we can be in the non-listening mode of the whispers of wisdom. However, now we're on the other side of that road to the way we can listen from within. And when we listen from within, one of the things that's very clear is that this is part of our soul's evolution. Whenever I listen to the whispers from within, it's part of my soul's evolution. And when my soul's evolution shows up, sometimes what does it bring? Resistance. There can be some resistance. And I don't know why Spirit wants me to say that today. However, that's what Spirit said. And so here we go. There can be some resistance. We get to be in an awareness space of some resistance. We are, after all, spiritual beings having the human experience. So part of our humanness, or part of my humanness, is resistance. However, one of the ways we can listen, I love this quote from Quiet Talks with the Master by Eva Bell Werber. I see your head shaking, David. This is what it says. I speak to you in many ways. Sometimes you do not hear my voice, for it is low and sweet. And the clatter and clamor of the world breaks in upon it. I speak to you through the flowers, the song of birds, and through other of my beings. Just feel how rich that is. How juicy it is. Yeah. How scrummy it is. Yeah. So first, we get to listen to our heart, the longings of our heart, because the longings and the desires of my heart are the longings and the desires of spirit within. And as I said before, there's only one of us here. So the longings and desires of your heart, of my heart, of their heart, are the longings and the desires of spirit within. Because I think we all know this. However, I'm going to say it. The only way the consciousness of the divine can make it here on this blue marble we call Earth, or here in the cosmos, is through the form that each of us is. Each of us is sacred, divine, spectacularly, uniquely, custom-made expression of the one. So this is one of the ways that we can listen. This is some of the ways we can listen from within. So now, I'm one of these people who likes, okay, now we know how to listen from within. I know about the non-listening. So what toolbox, what parts of my spiritual toolbox can I use? Spiritual toolbox, this kind, what showed up is you can be in your car. In your car, Verona. We don't want to spend any more time in our cars. We spend time in our cars on the freeway all the time. However, this is an acronym. This is an acronym. CAR is an acronym, which is the way we get to be in the practical part of the inner listening from within is clarify, affirm, and respond. Clarify, affirm, and respond. So the first part, clarify, I get to question, or it is our opportunity to turn within and be in a place of emotional awareness and choose the consciousness which I prefer. To shift my perspective and clarify exactly what's going on here. Exactly what it is I'm listening to. Exactly what I've decided to open up and let in, so to speak. And of course, as Reverend Michael says, we're not really letting anything in. We're just letting everything out. Okay. It's already in us. However, what it is, I'd like to be part of the circulation. How's that? Yes. So that's the first way to clarify. And I have a wonderful quote from Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, a book they wrote together. And it says, become conscious of the infinite wisdom directing you in whatever you need to know as the divine fulfillment of life itself. Yes, infinite wisdom is directing me and you and us and they and them and all of us in whatever we need as the divine fulfillment of life itself. I love that. I just love it because that we are the divine fulfillment of life itself. And all we need to do is be conscious of the infinite wisdom. So that's a way we can clarify. Second way is affirm. That's of the car that we're in. We get to affirm, and we get to affirm that gap space between the impulse and the action. You know, that little gap space between when I get the impulse and then the action I may be a part of. And that is in the affirming that the best way, the easiest way to affirm it is what I said it before, is that Bible verse, be still and know that I am God in the midst of you. You know, for the affirmation to affirm it, just be still and know that I am in the midst of you. Yeah. And that way we can affirm, aha, that's what's going on. Yeah, that's what's happening here. And the third part, the car, is we get to respond. We have an opportunity within our everyday activities to respond, which means we get to accept the whispers of wisdom. We get to accept them. And this is a term we don't use very much in New Thought Ageless Wisdom. However, we get to act obediently and faithfully on the whispers that we get. Yes, act obediently and faithfully. And I don't know about you, but I have had the experience of the whispers of wisdom come to me. I don't act obediently and faithfully, and Spirit sends me the lesson in yet another way. And sometimes when the lesson has to come 8 or 9 or 10 times, it's not quite as pleasing. It might be a little painful. It might be in that part where it's, the pain pushes and the vision pulls. It could be a little, I don't know, redundant. It could be any of those things. And I'm saying all those things tongue in cheek because once we respond and accept and then act obediently and faithfully, then our car is on its way, clarifying those whispers, affirming the whispers, and responding to the whispers. So how this might work in our lives, I'm going to quickly give an example of how it has worked in my life. Recently, I took a class. The class was called Minister as Counselor. And it was a graduate level class, and I was happy to take it. And it was, 20-hour class. That's what it was. Yeah. And so at the end of the class, we were to write a paper. Okay, we did a presentation. And after the presentation, we were to write a paper. Well, when we were told to write the paper, 2 to 4 pages. Okay. When we were told to write the paper, my ego stepped in and said, Verona, you have not been in college in decades. You are not capable of this. My ego just rushed right in literally and took a hold of me to the point where I had a tummy ache and said, not for you, girlfriend. Okay. And then the next thing I got was, and you don't know, is it supposed to be single space? Is it supposed to be double space? And the paper was on shadow work, on doing our shadow work. Yeah. And so, of course, you know how the universe always provides. As my ego was whipping me around like the tail of the dragon on the Chinese New Year's celebrations, as it was whipping me around, Spirit gave me something to write about shadow work that that one of my children is striking out on their own, who hasn't struck out on his own yet, and he's in his late 20s, and my own responses, the sadness, the excitement, all the things that showed up for me. So now I have a subject for the shadow work paper, and I know as I go within and go to the whispers of wisdom within me, Spirit is saying to me, first, you get to choose consciousness. Consciousness is your life, my dear sweet girl. You get to choose consciousness. You get to clarify what's happening here. Clarify too that my ego was having a heyday with me. Okay. And also gave me an opportunity to say, thank you, ego. I bless you. I send you on your way. I bless you. I send you on your way. You know, it's one of those things of, okay, ego, we're in this Rolls Royce together, and I am driving. You're way back in the trunk. Okay. You're way back in the trunk, or the boot, as they would say. Okay. So that was the first thing I clarified. The second thing was I got to affirm. I got to absolutely know, just be still and know God in the midst of me. Just be still about the paper. Be still. Let the shadow work wash over you, through you, and all around you. Be still. So I really actually gave myself a day to be still about it. Well, need I tell you, the next day, the paper poured out of me, and I responded, you know, because when I was still, Spirit said to me, this is not about a paper. This is about your growth and learning. This, my dear, beloved, sweet, precious girl, this is about your spiritual enlightenment. This resistance that you're having is yours to be friends with, to give thanks for, and to move through. So the next day I wrote the paper. I wrote it so fast that I'm not a typist. I wrote it longhand. I wrote it so fast that I had a cramp in my left hand. My left hand is my dominant hand. I had a cramp in my left hand because I wrote it so fast, and it was so wonderful and spectacular. When I read it, I thought, oops. I realized Spirit wrote it as me, but I used my car. I used those three things: clarify, affirm. I allowed myself, and to respond. And then the respond to was the obedience. Yes, Spirit. Yes, this is for me. So the whispers of wisdom, they're always there. They are ours to choose. The astuteness, the sagaciousness, the judiciousness, all of those things and so much more. Even the Wicca part of it, all those things and so much more. So my challenge to you today, it's an easy one. Get in your car. Get in your clarify, affirm, and respond, and bring to the planet that Spirit is desiring to emerge through and as you. I'm complete. Blessings.
Thank you so much, Reverend Verona. I loved that talk. And I'm going to just ask us to stay in this space while Jesse completes it with a message, a musical message.
Reverend Verona, you got me in the vibes. They're in the center of my soul. I can feel you all around me. Something holy and untold. But I hear it perfectly. Somehow in the deepness of now, I can see I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. Here and now I can see I was made beautifully. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. Beyond books and words and songs, at the gate of all my longing, leaving certainty behind. I take one step and you come running. It's clear in the deepness of here, I can see I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. Here and now, I can see I was made perfectly. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. Love, love, flow like water. Love, love, move in me. Love, love, flow like water. Love, love, move in me. Oh, love, love, flow like water. Love, love, move in me. Oh, love, love, flow like water. Love, love, move in me. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. Here and now, I can see I was made beautifully. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love.
Thank you so much, Jesse Powers. Let's just begin with a deep breath and just pull your shoulders back as you relax into this room, breathing deeply at your own pace. And so today's meditation theme is about clarity. Clarity of the healing light that is the physical body. So I want us to begin by relaxing our eyes, and just envisioning our eyes that see with perfect clarity, and the eyes themselves that are clear, like a translucent glow. As we relax and breathe, we notice that glow increasing, and we understand that the synapses of our brain, the messages that are firing back and forth from the right hemisphere to the left, are just slowing into their own tempo. Just thankful for the buzzing electricity of every part of this amazing brain of ours, as we think about the brain crystal clear, healing, luminous. We're able to learn and form new neural connections. That's called neuroplasticity. So we're grateful for this ability to form new neural connections. The brain can adapt to any deficits by forming these new neural connections. The brain can actually form new brain cells, new neurons in the hippocampus. This is fairly recent science. So we're so grateful for this ability for the brain to regenerate and be dynamic, as we picture the brain crystal clear, healing. And we extend that crystal clear luminosity to all the parts of the nervous system down our spine. And to every part of our body where the nervous system's signals are regulating, sending messages out and sending messages back. And as we breathe again, we just feel the crystal clear luminosity and relaxation in our neck and in our shoulders. As we breathe, we become aware of the crystal clear healing extending to every muscle in our body. Every ligament, every tendon. And now we think of the bones of our body, from our skull to our teeth to our spine. To our legs and arms and our rib cage. All the complex bones of the hands and the feet and the knees and the hips, crystal clear. Healing. As we take a breath into the heart space, we just acknowledge the clarity of the 4 chambers of our heart, regulating and working 24/7. Extending through the circulatory system, the arteries pushing the blood out and the veins, pulling the blood again into our lungs where it is oxygenated and made crystal clear. And so we give thanks for our heart and our lungs that are making up this wonderful system. We're sending this healing, clear luminosity to the endocrine system, every gland in the body, and all the chemicals that are released into the bloodstream, our lymphatic system, clear. Our digestive system, all the organs of our body working in concert together. Breathing into those organs. As they adapt and react in this great healing system with clarity and luminosity. And now let's feel this clear energy move its way through our arms, our forearms, our hands, our fingers. Just imagine our fingers just tingling with this oxygenated, clear, healing light. As we breathe. And as all this is happening, let's also be aware of the clear, crystal clear nature and energy moving its way through our legs and our knees and our shins and our feet and our toes grounding ourselves all the way into the earth. Crystal clear. And we extend this energy out to the chakras and the subtle bodies and the emotional bodies, the bodies of our memories, asking that any pain body, the memories and the situations that are stuck in the body, just to be cleared simply through breathing. So let's bring our attention back to our deep breath. Energizing our thoughts with clarity for today as we open our minds and our hearts to any insights that we're meant to receive today. So in this perfect clarity, I'm just so grateful for this community. I'm so grateful for this spiritual practice called Unity San Jose. So grateful for the healing that is taking place right now as it continues through the service. And so it is.